Hey guys, hope you're having a great day today. My name is Steve. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Today we're going to be reacting to a place called the Eden Project, and this is located in Cornwall. This is supposedly the world's largest indoor rainforest. Someone recommended this to me in the comments of a previous video, and as soon as I looked up the video on YouTube and started seeing the thumbnails, I got really excited. This place reminds me of one of my favorite childhood movies called Biodome. I'm sure a lot of you probably seen that movie. I think it's from sometime in the early 90s, probably like 91 or something like that. But I love that movie so much, and I always thought it would be really cool to be able to go into something like the Biodome in that movie. This kind of reminds me of it. It's basically the same type of concept, but this looks even larger. It looks massive. I'm wondering how huge this place is and how many different species of plants are actually in these domes. It's not just one dome. It looks like a number of different domes here. I didn't really get a good look yet because I'm just looking at, the thumbnails and whatnot, but I'm really excited about this, guys. I think this is going to be very interesting, but I'm surprised I've never heard about this. As someone who, I like gardening, I like plants, I used to be a landscaper and things like that. So I'm really surprised this is the first I'm hearing about this. But anyways, guys, don't know what to expect here, but I think this is going to be really cool. So let's just go ahead and dive in and check out the Eden Project, the world's largest covered rainforest. Wow. This is a legit rainforest.
Eden Project's a living theatre of plants and people.
Wow.
And it's built in this massive bowl, which used to be a china clay pit.
Dude, that looks so futuristic. That is so cool, man.
Hi, I'm Jo, and I work at the Eden Project in Cornwall. And I'm Director of Interpretation, which doesn't mean I speak different languages. It means I talk to scientists and all sorts of other fascinating people from across the world and present their views here in our living theatre.
Dude, that looks like something you see like on
in 95,
movie about Mars or something.
There's a guy called Tim Smith, Sir Tim
So
Smith.
cool.
And he'd moved down to Cornwall because he wanted to start a rare breeds farm. He found a garden which was completely overgrown, found out who owned it. Tim said, well, I'll help you restore it. And they restored it, and they found out it was a Victorian garden.
That's something I would love to do.
And so he started to get really interested in plants. And around the same time, the Millennium Commission, which is what they were called then, they're called the Big Lottery now. You buy a lottery ticket and some money goes to good causes. In the year 2000, they'd taken this money and they wanted to give it to projects who raised their eyes to the skies and totally transformed.
Dude, so this is the area was, wow. So it's just like a massive pit. Or like, it looks like it used to be maybe some sort of mining area. That's what I guess it was. It was a mining pit of some sort. Wow, man. It's definitely a good use for this area.
Thinking. So Tim said, oh, well, let's build the biggest greenhouse in the world in a hole in the middle of Cornwall where nobody can see it and put a rainforest in it to demonstrate transformation. Sounds like a good idea. So I rocked up to speak to Tim actually before this because all these lorries weren't here. And the first thing he did was take me down and show me this crater in the ground.
So not too old.
And
What's that?
I was standing about there.
4 years ago?
He said, we're going to build a rainforest here. We're going to build a Mediterranean biome here. We'll put the visitor centre here, and there'll be all these crops. We'll put a lake in the centre and create this amazing transformation of a global garden.
Wow.
So I'm going to tell stories of plants and people because they're amazing, and there's people think plants are about as interesting as watching paint dry. And I said, well, that's quite interesting because the reason paint dries is because it's made of a plant. And he was like, oh, how do you know about all this? I said, well, I tell stories of plants and people. And he said, will you quit your job and come and help me set this place up? So I said yes. It's designed so you can sort of get lost in it and have fun and wander around, but it does have quite a deep narrative behind it. So the rainforest and med, half of it's wild, half of it's cultivated, and we'll go in and have a look.
Oh, I want to see that. Hold on, guys. Sorry, I just want to see this area here. Does that say arena? Your here visitor center. Does that say no? I don't know what that says. Core? No, it's a little far away. This place is massive. How big are the grounds here? I hope they tell me the size of the grounds itself. Are there any trails around? I think there are some trails around. And how big are these domes? So it looks like there's basically two dome. Well, there's, I don't know. You wouldn't call each of these bubbles a single dome. So it's like two, I don't know what you call that. 3 domed domes. I don't know. I don't know how. Let me know if you know how to describe this. Well, how would you describe these domes? I don't really know exactly, how to put it into words what these are, except they're just domes.
Half of it's wild, half of it's cultivated, and we'll go in and have a look. The stage is where we have our big summer program, and then outside, this is all food crops. This is about time and energy. This is about creativity and play. This is about water, and this bit round the edge is the wild edge. It all transpired.
That is so cool.
So then he went to the Millennium Commission, who were giving out grants there, and there was 3 categories. You could get an A, go build it. A B, go back and work it out, and C, no good. So any idea what we got?
C.
Yeah, we got a C. Yeah. So he came back and we said, what have you got? And he said, it's a sort of A or B or sort of C-ish. So he went back and he said, what would you rather have written on your tombstone? I wish I had, or I'm glad I did. The biome that's closest to us is the smaller one, believe it or not. And that's the Mediterranean biome. And then the one in the distance is the rainforest, which is the biggie, which is 200 metres by 100 by 50 with no internal support. So it's this giant bubble. And that's
no internal support? 200 meters by 100 meters by 50 meters? Is that what she said? Wow. That is massive. What is this thing? What is this made of? Obviously, it's. I don't know. I hope they describe. Tell me what this is actually made of. Obviously, it's not just the world's largest indoor rainforest. It's the world's largest greenhouse. Period. Okay. This is going on the list of places I'm going to be visiting when I go to the UK. I love plants, and I just love things like this. This is so unique, man. I love greenhouses. I love beautiful grounds. What an awesome thing to do with. I mean, let's be honest. It was an eyesore. It was an old mine, I think. I don't know what kind of mine, but it obviously looked like some kind of mine. It was just a pit of mud, and they just turned it into this just beautiful, amazing, futuristic biodome. I mean, it's just this crazy, dude. That's awesome. Are those cows?
That's where we're going.
So they're doing like regenerative farming.
We have no soil, which
here?
is ideal for a global garden.
I love this.
So we made 83,000 tons of soil from recycled waste. I hate the word waste, from recycled stuff. And there was no plants, and there was no stable sides at all. So we got something called a monitor, which is a massive machine. They used to squirt at the China clay pits to mine the China clay, which is rotten granite, basically. So we got this monitor, and instead of putting water in it, we put in liquid soil and seeds, and we just sprayed. And then the seeds germinated, and the roots went in, and they became the anchors, which held it all together. So we use plants for everything from the second we started. The biomes are based on animal architecture, maximum strength using minimum materials, which is what bees do. Hexagons, so we used hexagons. But they're actually twin layer space frames, so there's a layer of hexagons and another layer of hexagons inside, which is slightly twisted, and they're made of steel. And the structures are huge, and they're very, very light. So the weight of the rainforest biome, I always try and remember this, the weight of the rainforest biome is 465 tons. And you think, oh, so what? But the weight of the air inside it is 420,000 tons. So it's the weight of the biome is the same as the weight of the air inside it, basically. The material is called ethyl tetrafluoroethylene. It's called ETFE, which is sort of cling film with attitude. It is plastic, but it's recyclable plastic, and it transmits ultraviolet. So the plants inside get proper daylight, and you can get suntan inside as well. So you've got to wear sun cream when you're inside. Every single piece is numbered. It was like a giant Meccano set, so it would only fit in one particular place. So all the hexagons are slightly different sizes, and you can see little knobbly bits sticking up on the outside.
So it's made after, it's kind of designed after a beehive a little bit.
Climbers climb up onto the roof and clean all the gutters and everything.
It looks like a honeycomb a little bit.
gave us a bit of money at the start. The local college decided to pay me for 2 years, which was a miracle. And in the end, the Millennium Commission did give us the biggest chunk of the money. So the rest, as you can see, is history, because it actually happened. And we did build the biggest greenhouse in the world and put it in a hole in the middle of Cornwall and build a global garden. Welcome to the rainforest.
You know, I was just thinking, this is a great place to build something like this, considering it is very lightweight. I'm guessing it's very structurally sound, but if it was in an area where you're going to get a lot of wind, like if it was like where you could potentially have hurricane force winds, I'm guessing it could do some serious damage to this. So having it down in this pit is actually probably a very beneficial thing because it actually protects it from the wind. And I don't know what kind of storms you get in that area, you know, down in Cornwall, but it just seems like it's probably a really good place for it.
It's exciting because you've never been in it before. So we're going to go round through the wild area. We go through to tropical islands. We work very closely with the National Tropical Botanical Garden in Hawaii. 3,000 years ago, the Polynesians went from the South Pacific to Hawaii, went back 3,000 miles, picked up 27 plants they needed to start a new civilization. This is the rosy periwinkle, and there was a famous footballer there is a famous footballer in the UK called Gary Lineker, and his son was very poorly, and the chemical from this plant saved his life. Only 5% of the plants in the rainforest have been tested for their medical uses.
I've heard that before.
So we need to save the rainforest because it's full of medicines half of them we don't even know about. So all the plants in here, when they came in, they were either seeds or cuttings. Mainly we got them from Europe because we didn't want to take anything out of the wild. So we're now stepping from tropical islands into Southeast Asia. So different plants again, but they have the same adaptations. So they look really similar. They tend to have really big leaves. If the leaves are high up, they tend to be able to rip easily because of the wind.
That is so massive.
To each of the tropical areas to talk to local people there to see what stories we should tell. So we didn't just make up a story about somebody else, we went and asked them. And then we wanted to represent tribal people. We distinguish between indigenous people who live and work within the tropics with tribal people who are separated from modern society. We've now moved into West Africa, working with a project in West Africa on agroforestry, where a lot of the trees in the rainforest have been clumped together and they're all useful plants. This, believe it or not, is new, this path, because people were coming and they said, well, we know the rainforest is important for biodiversity, but why do we need to save them? And we said, well, they cool the earth. And they went, what? Because it's really hot. So we worked with the scientists, got all the complicated information and boiled it down. So they move the air, reflect the sun, make the rain, sweat water, catch carbon and defend from floods. So that's somebody's pulled from like 20-year research project.
You gotta love trees, man.
I was
love
fortunate
trees.
enough to go to Guyana in tropical South America. We lived in a hut with a corrugated roof. And
what in the world? Okay, so how does this work? Do they actually have, like, I don't want to say fake rain, but you know what I'm saying? Do they make it rain within? Like, do they have a sprinkler system up top somewhere? I guess they do. I don't know. There's no way they water these plants somehow. This is interesting. I mean, it's like there's actually a storm, a rainy day. That's so cool, man. My favorite tree is the oak. I love the mighty oak. Man, I don't know what it is about that tree, man. Just my favorite. Obviously, you wouldn't find an oak tree in a rainforest, I'm guessing. Or would you? I don't know. But definitely my favorite tree.
Every afternoon at 4 o'clock, it did this. This pays homage to my biology tutor who got me into botany in the first place. Dr. Dodge, he said, stand up, your feet are nailed to the ground. So we stood up and he said, you want to eat? There's some food over there. You want to drink? It's over there. You want to cuddle that bloke? He's over there. And there's a tiger coming, you can't move. He said, plants eat, drink, have sex, and survive danger without moving. And I'm going to spend the next 4 years telling you how they do it. And then he left the room. So we wanted to show how rainforests make clouds without writing too many words. I don't know about your camera, but it's really nice and cool in there. All the water from the waterfall is rainwater we collected. So the water's collected, it washes off the biomes, and then it's pumped into tanks, and those tanks are used for all the watering of the plants and to flush the loo. So we're tapping our rubber trees. We also sell in the shop and advocate wild rubber. So we wanted to do something really simple. So you've got the oil palm plantation and the forest. Vanilla, and then we've got all these spices. The one at the back is cardamom, and that is the rainforest biome. Mediterranean biome. So we have the perfume garden. You come through into the Mediterranean, California, South Africa, Western Australia. Totally different places, same climate. It's just where all the wine comes from. And then through into the crop zone. And then in the middle, we have a Mediterranean cafe where you can eat all the food that you've just seen. And our olive trees had reached the end of their life in where they came from. And they were going to put a road in, so we rescued them, but they had to go in quarantine for 18 months. Right in front of me is one that's 1,500 years old. So it's seen a great deal.
Wow, 1,500 years old.
So every day at 12 and 2, the storytellers come out and tell a story. These guys are doing the Library of Life, LOL. So all these nets, ghost nets, make them into chairs. And it shouldn't go in there in the first place, but when it is in there, let's do something with it. So here we've got some more crops. We've got aubergines, we've got tomatoes.
Look at these, I love those trees, man.
Trees, one of the only trees, that if you take its bark off, it doesn't die. Most trees die if you take their bark off. It's really light. So it's used in spaceships, it's used in railways, on the tracks. It's got so many different uses. So you can harvest it and keep the forest alive at the same time. So it's lovely. In the restaurant in there, we do weddings and all sorts. And when you eat in there, and you're in the middle of a meeting and chatting away, you can really suspend disbelief about where you are. I think the most important thing is awareness of how you fit within the planet, and then you will do many things. Then you will reduce how much stuff you use, you'll recycle everything you can, you'll repair stuff rather than overconsume. It's understanding how you operate within the whole world, and the fact that together all of you can make a difference.
This place is insane in a good way. I think it's just amazing. It's amazing, insane that they actually took this pit and they created this amazing place. I mean, it's just, when you look at it, I want to see the front of like there it is, right there. Wow. So looking at this, I would never guess that it was just, what was it, Chinese clay pit? Something like that. A Chinese clay mine, I think is what they said. Is that a train? Okay. Or maybe it's like a little tram. I think that's what it is. This is crazy. A beautiful place. Like I said, it's just amazing. Look at the backdrop. I mean, this is really cool. What a great use of a space that I guess it was no longer being mined or something. What a great thing to do with that space, man. Instead of just leaving it, like, it's amazing. It's a beautiful place. This is like a great place to take your kids, to teach them about botany, just the rainforest, just food crops, just everything there is to know about plants, really. I mean, it's just a great place to kind of, learn about that type of thing. Great place for a good field trip. But I think one of the things that I always found so interesting about plants, especially in a forest or a rainforest, is that the plants really do communicate with each other with chemical signals. Their roots are all underground. They're touching each other. It's an amazing, it really is an ecosystem. I think a lot of people don't quite understand that plants communicate with each other. Plants are amazing, more amazing than people think. People don't realize plants, they do everything. They protect themselves with chemical defenses. And, that's why, you eat most plants are actually poisonous. Most plants around the world are not edible. And it's because that they create these bioweapons, these chemical bioweapons that make sure humans and animals won't eat them because they want to survive just as much as any animal or human does. But this is great, guys. Definitely going to visit this place when I get the chance. Definitely going on the list. And I look forward to checking this place out. Like I said, I would have never guessed they actually built the biodome. They built what I remember in that movie that I loved so much. It looks so futuristic, and it's just yeah, it's great. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow me on my journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. And also, guys, please feel free if there's other things you think I might want to check out similar to this. I love this type of stuff. It's unique. It's a unique place I'd never heard of before, but now it's going on my list to check out. So if you have any interesting things you think I might want to check out, please feel free to drop them in the comments. And when I see them, I bookmark them and I try to check them out at some point. But yeah, anyways, guys, thank you so much. Until next time, peace.